तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः।
ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna and the conversations of 22nd October 1885, and the topic is Thakur is talking with Dr. Sarkar, and Thakur is using many examples, analogies to illustrate the spiritual points he is telling. Doctor, on the other hand, finding fault with the analogies, and that also to establish some truths which he thinks are true. Thakur is as if accepting the challenge, and within that, again he shows some deeper points of truth. That is what is going on. So, on English page 863 beginning and Bengali page 932. Okay. So we continue. Thakur is talking. Many people think they cannot have knowledge or understanding of God without reading books. But hearing is better than reading. Hearing is better than reading. Why? We must think of this. When you hear from a qualified person, he adds his experience or the feelings in his heart into that truth told by the rishis. So that enters your heart and makes an impression. The dharana becomes very clear. Reading, you read and you are applying your own mind to understand that. That is the basic difference. That when you hear the authorized person, the man with some experience or at least some feeling in the heart is adding to that experience which the rishis is telling, and that creates the desired impression on your heart, and you make a deeper dharana, concept of the thing, or sometimes feeling, sometimes even experience. While reading, you are reading by your eyes and applying your own limited intelligence to feel it or to experience it. That is a big difference. So, Shravan. But hearing is better than reading and seeing is better than hearing. Now, this also shows, this leads to that. When you have made a conception, but seeing means experience actually. So actual experience is definitely superior to conception. Reading may give an intellectual idea. The conception is nearer realization, so it is better than reading, and experience is the final proof. So experience is definitely called seeing, and that is better than hearing. So through every point, Thakur is making details and more details of all sorts of spiritual life. Hearing about Benares is different from reading about it. A direct example. But seeing Benares is different from either hearing or reading. Those actually engaged in a game of chess do not always judge the moves on the board correctly. A beautiful analogy, huh? The onlookers often judge the moves better than the players. Worldly people often think themselves very intelligent, but they are attached to the things of the world. They are actual players and cannot understand their own moves correctly due to attachment. But holy men who have renounced everything are unattached to the world, and they are really more intelligent than worldly people. Here Thakur may be talking about himself and the doctor. Since they do not take any part in worldly life, their position is that of onlookers, and so they see things more clearly. So Thakur has used this analogy because doctor has been arguing and arguing and arguing, and Thakur is talking from his experience. And Thakur is out of the world. Doctor is still attached to the world. So this is an indirect way of telling something. Doctor, to the devotees, if he, meaning Sri Ramakrishna, had studied books, he could not have acquired so much knowledge. Faraday communed with nature. Faraday was a great scientist in both the fields of physics and chemistry. He had not received any formal education, and yet he was honored with the degree of FRS and many awards. He, at the root of many fields, he opened for further research in physics and in chemistry. So, about that, Doctor is telling he did not read books. He was not formally educated. Faraday communed with nature. That is why he was able to discover many scientific truths. He could not have known so much from the mere study of books. So here he has corroborated with Thakur in the field of science. Mathematical formula only throw the brain into confusion and bar the path of original inquiry. Mathematical formula here represent dry reason, logic only. Master, there was a time when I lay on the ground in the Panchavati and prayed to the Divine Mother, "O Mother, reveal to me what the karmis have realized through their ritualistic worship, what the yogis have realized through yoga, and what the jnanis have realized through discrimination." I appeal to the Mother. That is his own real nature, higher nature. How much I commune with the Divine Mother, how can I describe it? That is beyond description, because it is his own reality. What a state I passed through. Sleep left me completely. For many years, he had no wink of sleep. The master sang, घूम बेंगेचे हरकी घुमाई, जोगे जागे जगे आची, आकुन योग निद्रा तोरी दिए मा घुमेर घूम पाड़िएची. My sleep is broken. How can I slumber anymore? For now, I am wide awake in the sleeplessness of yoga. So, not insomnia, but waking to the real nature of man. That is called waking. All others is sleep. O Divine Mother, made one with thee in yoga sleep at last. So there is called yoga nidra, which is similar to samadhi of the yoga type. My slumber I have lulled asleep for evermore. So sleep itself is made to sleep. A man has come to me from a country where there is no night. Rituals and devotions have all grown profitless for me. So that man is God himself, or that man is the illumined Guru. He continued, I have not read books, but people show me respect because I chant the name of the Divine Mother. So, devotion to the Mother is a greater source of spiritual knowledge than reading books. Shambhu Malik said about me, here is a great hero without a sword or shield. Laughter. Without a sword or shield, great hero. Without books, he has inner knowledge. The conversation turned to the performance of a drama by Girish Chandra called The Life of Buddha. The doctor had seen the play and been much pleased with it. Doctor to Girish, you are a very bad man. Must I go to the theatre every day? This is talking in a indicative way. Master to him, what does he say? I don't quite understand. Thakur straight language. M says the doctor liked the play very much. That is the substance. Master to Ishan. So we find the talk had started with Ishan and shifted to doctor. Now again to Ishan. Why don't you say something? Pointing to the doctor. He does not believe that God can incarnate himself in a human form. So Ishan believes that. He should tell how he believes that. Ishan, what shall I say, sir? I don't like to argue anymore. Master sharply. Why? Won't you say the right thing? You see, he says, I don't want to argue. No question of argument. But you know something to be right and that you should speak out. How beautiful is Thakur's ways. Master Masha thought that Thakur had stopped his reasoning. That was reasoning gone astray. So Thakur had told, don't argue anymore. But here, one's own conviction, one's own experience, one must state correctly. This is for everybody who is worth his salt. So Thakur sharply told Ishan to the doctor. So that made Ishan open up. The sharp remark from Thakur, Ishan was trying to be modest, how to argue. He is a doctor, he has so much reason. But Thakur has told, no, when you know something, you must talk about it. So now he has opened up. Ishan to the doctor. Our faith is shallow on account of our pride. So he has taken a still third angle. Pride is the reason because of which our faith is shallow. Faith is not deep enough. If there is no ego, faith would have gone deep. So a new angle of truth he speaks. It is said in the Ramayana that a crow named Bhushundi did not at first accept Rama as an incarnation of God. Once it incurred Rama's displeasure, it traveled through the different worlds, the lunar, solar, and so forth, and through Mount Kailasha to escape Rama's wrath. But it found that it could not escape. Then it surrendered itself to him and took refuge at his feet. Rama took the crow in Rama took the crow in his hand and swallowed it. Puranic story. Thereupon the crow found that it was seated in its own nest in a tree. After its pride had been crushed, the bird came to realize that through Rama looked like every other man, yet he contained in his stomach the entire universe. Sky, moon, sun, stars, oceans, rivers, men, animals, and trees. So that is the Puranic expression of how he realized Rama is God himself. Master to the doctor. So now Thakur is speaking. It is very difficult to understand that God can be a finite human being and at the same time the all-pervading soul of the universe. It is difficult because we attach our idea of infinity with geographical vastness. The absolute and the relative are its two aspects. How can we say emphatically with our small intelligence that God cannot assume a human form? Can we ever understand all these ideas with our little intellect? Can a 1 seer pot kg hold 4 seers of milk? So our human understanding is very, very, very limited. Unless it expands, unless it transcends the senses, it cannot understand everything. Therefore, one should trust in the words of holy man. So when they have experience, their words have to be trusted. And great souls. Holy men and great souls, Sadhu Mahapurush. Those who have realized God, that is great souls. They constantly think of God as a lawyer of his lawsuits. Do you believe the story of the crow Mushundi? Because it is strange. So Thakur is asking, do you believe? Doctor, I accept as much I want to. So he has understood the spirit of it. All difficulties come to an end if only God reveals his true nature to the seeker. So if God reveals, then the seeker will understand. Then there can be no confusion. How can I accept Rama as an incarnation of God? Take the example of his killing Wali, the monkey chieftain. He had hid himself behind a tree like a thief and murdered Wali. Now this question was put by Wali himself, and Rama had replied that the rules of human fighting do not apply to fighting man with the animals. As you are a monkey, I have every right to kill you as I want. And Wali had accepted that. But that question is discussed even today by people of limited intellect. This is how a man acts, not God. That means cunning, greed. But sir, such an action is possible only for God. Now, there are many things which appear human, but man cannot do like that. God, who is beyond all rules, he can only do like that. And Girish, because of his faith in incarnation, faith makes one understand many things which without faith you cannot understand. If you proceed with Shraddha, you can understand the meaning of many things. And so, Girish, doctor is only reasoning. Girish has faith. So, Girish could understand that point. But sir, such an action is possible only for God. Doctor, take the example of his sending Gita into exile. Rama knew Sita is pure. Why did he send her to exile? Now, Rama was acting as an ideal man. So an ideal king, he did that. Girish. That too, sir, is possible only for God, not for man. Man would become attached to his wife. But Rama is setting an example to the world. So it is God only who can reject his wife, not man. So that is another thing. Huh? Every incident, judged from ordinary human angle, appears different. Every incident for a man who has full belief in God's incarnation would find a different meaning from the same incident. So the meaning found also depends upon our level of the mind. In the great master about Mathur Babu, Sardan Swami has written, Mathur's intellect developed by his devotion. He could understand many things of Thakur. Ishan to the doctor, why don't you believe in the incarnation of God? Just now you said that God has formed since he has created all these forms. Doctor's argument himself is being turned on him. And that God is formless since he has created the mind which is without form. A moment ago you said that everything is possible for God. So why not appearing as a man possible for him? Master laughing. It is not mentioned in his science that God can take human form, so how can he believe it? So, the basis of argument is books. Basis of argument is not experience of the rishis, neither your own intuition, but basis is the books, and so ordinary books. Listen to a story. A man said to his friend, I have just seen a house fall down with a terrible crash. Now the friend to whom he told this had received an English education, like doctor. He said, just a minute, let me look it up in the newspaper. He read the paper but could not find the news of a house falling down with a crash. Thereupon he said to his friend, well, I don't believe you. It isn't in the paper, so it is all false. So that is what happens by Western education, that unless it is in print, we don't believe. Somebody is telling, we don't believe. That is called objective. Beautiful story. Girish to the doctor. You must admit that Krishna is God. I will not let you look on him as a mere man. You must admit that he is either God or a demon because of his extraordinary power. If you don't accept him as God, then you have to call him a demon, not a man. Master, unless a man is guileless, he cannot so easily have faith. So faith requires a base, and the base is simplicity of the mind. Worldly people become crooked in their thinking. They find it difficult. So logical understanding is different from each person. God is far, far away from the mind steeped in worldliness. Worldly intelligence creates many doubts and many forms of pride of learning, wealth, and the rest, pointing to the doctor. But he is guileless. So Thakur praises every quality which is good in the doctor, so that on the basis of that, he will accept all the real truths of spirituality. How guileless Keshav Sen was. One day he visited the Kali temple at Dakshineshwar. At about 4 in the afternoon, he went around in the guest guest house where the poor are fed and asked where the beggars would be fed. He didn't know that it was too late in the day for the feeding of the poor. So that is guilelessness, simplicity. As a man's faith increases, so does his knowledge of God. The cow that the cow that the cow that discriminates too much about food gives milk in driblets. But the cow that gulps down everything, herbs, leaves, grass, husk, straw, gives milk in torrents. One laugh because of this example. Doctor, in that also you'll find something. Huh? Doctor to the devotees. No. One more para is there. God cannot be realized without child-like faith. No ego, no attachment. The mother says to her child, pointing to a boy, he's your elder brother. And the child at once believes that the boy is 100% his brother. Again, the mother says that a boogeyman lives in a certain room. Some make the boy fear for something. And the child believes 100% that the boogeyman lives in the room. God bestows his grace on the devotee who has the faith of a child. So, God bestows his grace. God cannot be realized by the mind steeped in worldliness. So that is now here doctor asks. Doctor, to the devotees, it is not right, however, to make the cow yield milk by feeding her all sorts of things. One of my cows was fed that way. I drank its milk, and the result was that I became seriously ill. At first, I was at a loss to know the cause. After much inquiry, I found out that the cow had been given the wrong things to eat. I was in a great fix. I had to go to Lucknow for a change to get rid of the illness. I spent 12,000 rupees, very big amount in those days. Roars of laughter because the association appears peculiar. It is very difficult always to find out the precise relationship between cause and effect. And that is under doctor's opinion. A child of 7 months in a wealthy family had an attack of whooping cough. I was called in for consultation. Even after much effort, I could not find out the cause of the illness. At last, I learned that the child had been given the milk of an ass that had been drenched in the rain. So far-fetched conclusions sometimes we feel, but he has one faith on that. Allah. Master to the devotees, how strange. It is like saying that a man has an acid stomach because he passed in his coach under a tamarind tree. His vehicle passed in tamarind tree. So he got acidity. Far-fetched. All love. Doctor with a smile, let me tell you another. The captain of a ship had a bad headache. After consultation, the doctor on board had a blister applied to the side of the boat. So that wind did not come and that captain was all right. Master to the doctor, for the seekers of God, the constant company of holy men is. So he brings back the topic. The disease of worldly people has become chronic, as it were. They should carry out the instructions of holy men. What will they gain by merely listening to their advice? They must not only take the prescribed medicine, but also follow a strict diet. Diet is important. So the medicine plus the diet acts in the case of Ayurvedic medicines. Diet is important, doctor. Yes, it is the diet. So there he has agreed. He goes by the words of the analogies. More than anything else that causes the cure. Diet, more than medicine, cures the disease. Master, these are three classes of physicians. So Thakur is talking only on spiritual life. What was the topic? Now this diagnosis and this led him to doctors, and in doctors he compares with the man of realization. There are gurus, There are three classes of physicians: superior, mediocre, and inferior. The inferior physician feels the patient's pulse, Ayurvedic doctor, merely asks him to take the medicine and then goes away. He doesn't bother to find out whether the patient has followed his directions. The moderate physician gently tries to persuade the patient to take the medicine. He says, look here, how can you get well without medicine? Take the medicine, my dear. I'm preparing it with my own hands. He is applying pressure of love. But the superior physician follows a different method. If he finds the patient Stubbornly referring to swallow the medicine, he presses the patient's chest with his knees and forces the medicine down in his throat. So, at most, in spite of patient's liking or not, doctor, there is a form of treatment that does not require the physician to press the patient's chest with his knees. For instance, homeopathy. Homeopathy medicines are small, so everybody will take it. That is doctor's idea. So in this analogy, has found something. So the conversation becomes very beautiful. Master, there is no fear if a good physician presses the patient's throat with his knee. So, what harm is there? So Thakur insists on his analogy because there is no escaping that. Okay, let us continue. Doctor, but it is not proper for a fun. Oh, that is over. Suddenly lost. Master, there is no fear if a good physician presses the patient's chest with his knee. Like the physician, that analogy has to be applied. Like the physician, there are three classes of religious teachers. The inferior teacher is content with merely giving spiritual instruction. He doesn't bother about the student after that. The mediocre teacher explains the teaching again and again for the good of the student that he may assimilate it. He persuades the student through love and kindness to follow it. But the superior teacher uses force if necessary on this stubborn student. Okay. To the doctor, the renunciation of woman and God is meant for the sannyasi. He must not look upon the picture of a woman. Do you know what a woman is to a man? She is the spiced pickle. The very thought of pickle brings water to the tongue. It doesn't have to be brought near the tongue. Only mention will be sufficient. But the renunciation is not meant for outsiders like you. It is meant only for sannyasis. You may live among women as far as possible in a spirit of detachment. That is necessary as far as possible. Now and then you must retire into solitude and think of God. So being only householder will not do. There are some do's and don'ts there. Now and then you must retire into solitude and think of God. Women must not be allowed there. Solitude. You can lead an unattached life to a greater extent if you have faith in God and love for Him. Faith in God and love for Him will enable to be more and more unattached. And the more and more unattached you are, your faith and love in God will increase. After the birth of one or two children, a married couple should live as brother and sister without sexual connection. They should then constantly pray to God that their minds may not run after sense pleasures anymore and that they may not have any more children. So, because Thakur has given this ideal, many people are able to follow it. Girish to the doctor with a smile. We have already spent 3 or 4 hours here. What about your practice? What about your patients? Doctor. Well, my patients and patients. I shall lose everything on account of your Paramahansa. He has become addicted to Thakur stuff. Master, there is a river called Karmanasha. That means destroying all work sanskaras. It is very dangerous to dive into that river. If a man plunges into the waters, he cannot perform any more action. It puts an end to his duties. Karmanasha. Allah, Doctor. To Girish, M and the other devotees, my friends, consider me as one of you. I am not saying this as a physician, but if you think of me as your own, then I am yours. So, Doctor has come to love Thakur and love his devotees. So his life is definitely taking a spiritual higher turn. Master to the doctor, there is such a thing as love for love's sake. It is very good if one can grow such love. Prahlada loved God for the sake of love. A devotee like Prahlada says, "Oh God, I do not want wealth, fame, creature comforts, or any such thing. Please grant me the boon that I have genuine love for thy lotus feet." Prahlada is always being put as a devotee ideal. Doctor, you are right, sir. I have seen people bowing down before the image of Kali. They seek worldly objects from the goddess, much as a job, much as a job, the healing of disease, and so forth. To the master, the illness you are suffering from does not permit the patient to talk with much people. So long he has talked for hours together. But my case is an exception. You may talk with me when I am here. So he finds the talk is irresistible. But to compensate that, we should not talk with others. Master, please cure my illness. I cannot chant the name and glories of God. Doctor, meditation is enough. I think Bengali has a little more sentence here. Aitu ki bhakti. That love for love's sake. Okay. to the master, the illness you are suffering from, ho gaya. Master, please cure my illness. There we are going. ये सुख ভালো করে দাও তার নাম গুণ করতে পারি না I cannot chant the name and glories of God. Doctor, meditation is enough. Master, what do you mean? Why should I lead a monotonous life? Oh. I enjoy my fish in a variety of dishes. Curried fish, fried fish, pickled fish, and so forth. So, apply to the devotion. Sometimes I worship God with rituals. Sometimes I repeat His name. Sometimes I meditate on Him. Sometimes I sing His name and glories. Sometimes I dance in His name. Doctor, neither am I monotonous. Master, your son Amrita does not believe in the incarnation of God. What is the harm in that? One realizes God even if one believes Him to be formless. One who realizes God if one believes that God has form. Two things are necessary for the realization of God: faith and self-surrender. Man is ignorant by nature. Errors are natural to him. Can a 1-seer pot hold 4 seers of milk? So the receptivity is limited. Whatever path you may follow, you must pray to God with a restless heart. He is the ruler of the soul within. He will surely listen to your prayer if it is sincere. Whether you follow the ideal of personal God or that of the impersonal truth, you will realize God alone, provided you are restless for Him. A cake with icing tastes sweet whether you eat it straight or sideways. Okay. Analogy. Your son Amrita is a nice boy, doctor. He is your disciple. Master with a smile. There is not a fellow under the sun who is my disciple. So that word hurts Thakur. He cannot tolerate it. On the contrary, I am everybody's disciple. All are the children of God. All are His servants. I too am a child of God. I too am His servant. Uncle Moon is every child's uncle. Thus we have come to the conclusion of that day's long talk. Chapter 46, the Master and Dr. Sarkar. Now, in the previous thing, with so many people and Dr. Sarkar he was talking. Now this chapter is entirely devoted to Sarkar. Friday, October 23, 1885. Next day only. Next day. It was the day of the full moon following the Durga Puja. Kojagiri Purnima it is called, Lakshmi Puja. The worship of the Divine Mother as Lakshmi. At 10 o'clock in the morning, Sri Ramakrishna was talking to him, who was helping him with his socks. Monday. Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Viriditam Kalma Shapaham श्रवणमंगलम श्रीमदाततम भूय गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम तत्सत। श्री रामकृष्ण अर्पणमस्तु।